Hey, how are you guys doing today? So let's talk about two groupings of news, I would say. So let's start with this. So of course, as we know, Anatacha, as shown by this image, as well as her on the left, we already know that this girl is going to be named at some point for the Nijigasaki High School Idol Club anime that's eventually going to come out. They released this girl as the 10th girl, which will be part of that group. Who will voice her, we don't know, as far as I know. We don't even know her name yet, so that's why she has been dubbed Anata, which kind of means you. And they've been having this thing where they ask, what's your name? She's supposed to represent you, like if you played the game, and you know that in the game for Love Live All Stars, that you are this you person, you're the character that plays the game, and she's supposed to represent that. Kind of wait to mirror the story, if they're going to take that and bring it over. So they want an actual character because you can't be actually a part of the anime itself while you can be in the game, so they need an actual character here for that. So that's who she is. Now we don't know her name because they want us to decide the name, and for a while they were accepting submissions for that. Now they have narrowed it down to 12 whole options here, and the names are all in Japanese, the explanations are all in Japanese, so I've already put out all the names here next to it, so generally to the left or above. The names of each section is in that kind of pinkish, purplish, probably more of a pinkish color here. So let's go over through the options and explain each one why that name has been decided. So all of this is in Japanese, and I don't understand Japanese enough to notice. So I'm just gonna take the translation straight from someone on the Love Live Discord, X Ice Archer. So that's that person's words, not mine. So if it's wrong, I'm sorry. I know I should know how to translate Japanese, but I definitely don't. But I'm just using their translation. So for the first one, on the top left, we have Hoshino Yu in it. So the kind of idea is that these characters each mean something. So the brings together translates the third character in their name. The sound translates to the fourth character, and of school idols or stars is the first character. So that kind of combination of bring together the sound of school idols and stars forms to make that name. As we know, there's things like homophones and stuff, like one character can mean certain things, so that's kind of how this name has been formed together to make that name. So that's that kind of idea. Beneath that name, the second name is Manaka Futaba. Of course, don't trust my Japanese too much here, but that one is the center of everyone, which is her first name, and comes from her having twin tails and green eyes and hair, which gets her second part of the name. So they combine that to get how they get that name. So I'm not entirely sure how that exactly works, but I guess Futaba is the twin tails and green eyes and hair. I'm not sure what exactly that means, but maybe some other people do, so if you know, you can probably put that in the comments. Next name we have Minano Yu. So as we know, Yu is a kind of more of a pun, how she's supposed to be known as Anata-chan. So a lot of people want to use the name Yu, Y-U-U, kind of like a pun and kind of more like an inside joke, especially for people that are currently here and part of this process, especially to know that at the history and when this is going to be laid down the road that her name is Yu. So a lot of these names are going to have Yu as a pun. So if you see Y-U-U, which is pronounced Yu, and that means more or less, it's just a name, but Yu sounds like our English U-Y-O-U, which we designate as her, while instead they say Anata, and you know, when you actually have Y-O-U in Japanese is Yo, like Yo Watanabe, so they don't have that, and they already have a Yo, so that's also no problem. But we kind of designated to use U, Y-O-U, so you know, you'll see that in the future. So that's where we get the U part of her name, and then we have everyone's Anata, which gets Minano. So more of a joke of her name is Anata, her U kind of deal. Next up in the bottom left, we have Yokote Sasa. So Yokote Sasa is deriving from the idea of that we have supports everyone from the sidelines. So that kind of everyone from the sidelines is kind of the first character in the name, And we get supports. Well, supports is the Sasaeru. I'm not entirely sure where that comes from, but that is what that person wrote, so I guess that's one of the options. Now after that, we have in the top middle, we have Shirosaki Tsumugi, which it comes from together with everyone in Niji with all kinds of different personalities. She brings them together, which is the last name part, and everyone starting from a blank slate, which is the first character of her first name. So, kind of like Shiro and White, I believe is why that is that way. So, that's how they get that name. I think it's pretty interesting. She is the 10th character, she kind of brings them all together, and it's kind of works in the story, and everyone's from a blank slate, I guess. There is some merit to that. So, interesting idea here. Next up, of course, we had the U deal, so I explained that. And then we have changing the first kanji to whatever that looks like, which appears in Honoka and Chika's name. So, Anata, which is you, brings together the third character, and Friends, the fourth character in the club. So I guess kind of a bit of a callback to leaders from before, as well as also getting that you joke in. The third in the middle section is pretty dang similar. It has basically the same gist. Honoka and Chika both have the first character shown in her name, and we have the U deal as well, and the final character name U, which means helping, which is perfect since she helps everyone. So very similar to before. So that's Takasaki U. Then the final one in the middle column, that is generated from the image of Odaiba, which, if you take a look at the second character, is Beach. She brings together the school idols, so that's kind of how they got the Kizuna part. Now let's move on to the final column on the right here. So, Anata is supposed to be the driving force behind the team and supports Niji from the shadows, writing a story of their youth, is more or less how they kind of get the first and fourth character in that name, Aoki Chiharu. And the person writes, I think this represents the thoughts of thousands, which is how they get the third character of Love Live fans. So they came up with a cheerful name based on those two ideas. Now let's take a look at Ayakawa Rena, which represents the colors of Niji, since they remind that person of a rainbow. Also, the Rainbow Bridge is one of Odaiba's famous seeing spots, which, if you guys don't understand, Niji, and it has a lot of things to do with rainbows. That's why when you think of the school emblem, it's often a rainbow, and they kind of have a rainbow bridge nearby. It's one of the big attraction points in Odaiba. So if you've seen things about rainbows and to make a callback to it, that's because that's why. So the last name here symbolizes the chorus formed by the combination of Love Live's amazing music and the voices of 9 school idols. They say it's the sound of gemstones. Now, the second to last one is Igarashi Wakaba. So in Japanese alphabetical order, it seems like she'll be sitting in front of Ayumu. And they just wanted to use the kanji that looks kind of like a plus sign. The wa at the back of the alphabet is opposite of Ayumu, which is at the start because of a, and her green hair was very memorable, so they wanted the kanji to have a close resemblance to newness. I'm not entirely understanding that, so if you guys understand that, try to explain it better than this translation, because I not entirely understand it. So, and lastly, we have Ichinose Midori. So this comes from the fact that her hair and eyes are green. The Ichinose part, Ichinose, is close to Ayumu's name in alphabetical order, and they made it 4 kanji so that it will line up when written down in a column with everyone else's names. So I guess that works, I suppose. So it's up to you what you decide you like, which name you think is the best. Each one has their own reasoning, some better than others. I don't know which one I like the most, but I think there's some level of creativity here, and a lot of people like to have the you joke in there, and probably I want to have that too. I don't know if that's the most creative, but it is a little nice kind of trivia or joke for people who are currently still here before this is even that far in development here. So of course there is a poll for this. This poll is not open at the moment of this recording. The poll, I'll have a link in the description. It will start on March 16 in like 10 o'clock Japan Standard Time. So that would translate to March 15 at 8 p.m. for Central Time. And this poll will go for a whole month, so it'll end on April 16th. So more or less, starting late tomorrow, you should be able to start voting in this polls on which name you would want this girl to have. If these explanations weren't that great, I'm sorry, but vote for whatever you want. If you just like the way the name sounds, that's honestly probably good enough. It doesn't always have to be a clever trick for why this person was named something, but having a good explanation is something nice to have. Now we finally got through that 12-minute explanation of this. Let's jump to the other thing that I wanted to talk about. So the next thing I want to talk about is this new project. So I understand there's confusion. Let me be honest, I'm also kind of a bit confused, but so I went and did a little research and looked around and trying to understand more about this new project. And is this related to Niji? I really don't think so, at least from what I can tell. So what is this? So we already had this image shown from before, which was for the recruitment of people. So they are starting to do audition and hoping for more people to join the Love Live franchise. Are these characters going to be in it? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. We will have to decide that later. But the big thing about this project is that the one who is heading this project really wants a lot of polls and wants everyone else to decide basically almost everything for that. So there was these images here, but let's go to the bigger image. Basically the images are saying that the school's name is going to be decided by us, what they do, the creativity of their personalities, and whatever they do in their activities is kind of going to be influenced by us. And once they have their personalities and names and all that set by us, they will work with that. They said Love Live is kind of a big franchise, is that it's supported through the fans and all that stuff. So more or less Love Live is kind of a grouping of all the fans. That's basically the gist of what those texts were kind of saying. That's an extremely loose translation here. So let's talk about one of the first polls. So there's this poll for the NC will be revealed for this kind of project in Love Live Days Magazine Volume 7, which is going to release on May 18th. So we got way before we know who that's going to be. They are currently in the audition phase, but in the second round of auditions, you get to choose one from each group, being the Muse as well as Aquaz. So the songs you can choose from the Muse is Bokura wa Ima no Naka de, Wild Stars, Dancing Stars on Me, and Snow Halation. For Aquaz, you can choose Kimi no Kokoro wa Kagayateru Kai, Happy Party Train, Mirai no Bokura wa Shiteru yo, and Yuki wa Doki ni Kimi no Mune ni. So of course we have season 1 opening for Muse, we got very popular Snow Halation, and we also got the season 2 opening and ending for Aquaz, as well as 2 of their PVs. So some pretty relatively popular songs that you can choose from to sing. So I'm assuming you have to choose one from Muse and one from Aqua to do your audition. So I guess that's a nice little factoid, I suppose. And now after that, so this image I have been showing for quite some time is this is going to more or less, I believe, be the school that this new project is going to have. So the special thing about this school is that actually it had been closed down before. So that's right, guys. The school's not closing down. I'm assuming after reopening after such a short time. So the school just came back from being closed. So take that, sunshine. I don't know, but so I'm assuming they're not going to be focused on us, and they probably will do that again, because hopefully they don't. But so this school has recently opened, and since it just opened, there's only going to be first years at the start of this project. So we're only going to have first years, no second years, no third years. So instead, we're going to have a project where there's only going to be first years. So as in terms for speculation, as a new season happens, there might be moving on to the next year, and as the next year comes on, we might have new girls joining, because probably that would make a lot of sense. They would recruit new members over time through season, so we might be seeing different iterations of a group as it moves on. That's at least what some people are speculating, and I think that's relatively reasonable. Now, all the groups before has had 3 for first years, 3 for the second years, and 3 for the third years. So is that going to be the case? Maybe, maybe not. You can't graduate in your first year, so we don't have to deal with graduation for a really long time with this creation of this project. We might have like 6 members from first years, and then newcon second years. Maybe some of them leave, some switch out. I don't know, that might hurt a lot of people's feelings if that did happen. But then maybe someone else joins after the new year. Or maybe they're going to start first years and they're going to really accelerate, going to the second year really quick, and the third year somewhat quick after that. I don't know. Maybe we have to see. But that's the basic gist, is that there's going to be no second years and third years at the start of Lisa's project here. At least that I know of. So that's the big thing that could really separate this from the other groups. So the voting period for the school name is going to be also in the link in the description, from March 16th to March 31st. I believe this school was kind of inspired by some kind of building in a garden. So, oh, that's something. So that's more or less most of the news that I have for here today. So there are going to be 2 polls, so go ahead and vote in them when they start. It's going to start at the same time as the other one, and it's going to be on the Dengeki website. So if you're interested in voting for the name of Reniji, as well as names for this kind of creation new project, go ahead and do that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think about the names? Do you think you should be one of her names? What is your favorite name, and why? And I guess if we got some great names for schools, I guess, go ahead and do that as well. And we'll see where that goes. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. And hopefully I catch you guys in another video soon.